energy bills are rising at a historic rate, and there's no end in sight. Talk to enough people and you'll soon realize nearly everyone's shocked at their recent electricity bills. Some studies reveal energy costs have skyrocketed by as high as 60% in as little as 2 years. That's why tens of thousands are installing this magical little device from SavePowerBills.com to help slash their energy bills. This sophisticated gadget stabilizes electrical currents, reduces dirty electricity, and helps protect your appliances and electronics. Simply plug it into your home's wall outlet to help lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills every month. Countless 5-star reviews back up the notion that this device is one of the most efficient ways to save money while beating the greedy power companies. But there's more. If you order now, you'll also receive 65% off, fast shipping within the USA, hassle-free returns, and last but not least, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. Just go to SavePowerBills.com to take advantage of this limited time deal before they sell out. Once again, that's SavePowerBills.com.
How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these childcare centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking, and then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there.
So that clip right there was of a man called Nick Shirley who uploaded a 43-minute video investigating Somali childcare facilities that are receiving taxpayer dollars from the state of Minnesota as a part of Tim Walz's signature legislation, which is universal childcare for every single under kindergartner in that particular state. Now, according to the state's website, as we see time and time again, these places are receiving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in order to care for children. They report to be 5-day-a-week or 7-day-a-week facilities. Their business hours say that they're open when Nick Shirley and this reporter arrive, yet what he finds time and time again is that the windows are completely blacked out, the door is not in fact open, and when somebody actually answers the door, as I will show you a little bit later, they seem dumbfounded by the idea that anybody wants to enroll their child in this daycare, despite the fact that the signage and, of course, the Minnesota government website says that they are, in fact, a childcare facility. And this is what we're going to talk about today, because if the claims in this video are, in fact, true, this means that there is yet another massive fraud defrauding the taxpayers of the state of Minnesota, this time in the childcare industry. And once again, the people that appear to be behind it are Minneapolis and St. Paul's Somali community. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who donates to me like I'm a Somali and they're the Minnesota state government over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually 2 daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on the sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in.
No.
And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell?
Yeah.
Try to get in, ring the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday.
So it's very important for you guys out there in the audience to understand that while everything in this particular video looks incredibly suspicious, based on my viewing of this entire mini documentary, what I have discovered is that maybe 1, if not 2, have faced any form of discipline at the time that this video was published. So we had a license revocation for one particular daycare center, and we also had a raid from the feds at another particular location, and in both of those cases, cases, it appears what the Somalis have done in response to that is just get a new license from the state of Minnesota, start all over again under a different name. But that being said, because of the fact that there have not been charges against most of these locations, you need to understand that this is all alleged at this moment in time, and you definitely 100% should not target the businesses associated with this video. Because again, although we kind of have an idea that there's probably a lot of fraud in these particular institutions, the fact is we don't have evidence of that, and they did find one location throughout the whole course of filming that actually did take a daycare application. So while it seems overwhelmingly and unreasonably suspicious, the fact is we need to wait and see what will result from this investigation before we condemn any of the individuals featured in this particular video. That being said, it is incredibly unusual that most of these locations happen to be completely blacked out, and again, they don't even answer the door when somebody comes a knocking to, actually patronize their business.
Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this childcare center?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here. All right, let's go to the next location.
Now look, I'm showing you little bits and clips because I want you to watch Nick's whole entire video, which will be linked in the description, but this happens over and over again, and one of the things that also starts happening throughout the course of him filming this is that you have random Somalis end up showing up in order to watch to see what they're doing, because obviously if you were running a criminal enterprise and you started to see the media surrounding your locations, you would want to have an idea of what they're doing. In addition to that, we also have the instances where somebody actually answers the door. Now, I told you about this in the intro, but it is fascinating because each and every time the door was answered and Nick ended up saying he wants an application or some way of enrolling his kid, the same thing appeared to occur, which was people looked absolutely baffled, dumbfounded. They try to cover their face. They would slam the door in Nick's face. And again, the idea that you would enroll your child in their business sounded so absurd and ridiculous to them that they couldn't even process that concept, which is crazy because again, they're supposed to be running a daycare facility. They're supposed to be running Tim Walz's universal childcare program, which is why they're receiving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of tax dollars.
This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children. 0 children. I've come by this place 100 times. I've never seen a child here, ever. The only thing I've ever seen is someone standing outside smoking.
What's crazy about this is that last daycare center is that green building right there. And the other daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars. I knocked on the door, and to my surprise, somebody actually answered the door. Hello? Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Now, of course, defenders of this are going to say, well, if your child was at a daycare facility, you would not want them to just open it up and let some random person on YouTube.com start filming your kids. And while I understand that, again, it does not seem reasonable that even when you have hidden cameras, these people seem absolutely uninterested in enrolling children, which is what they are being paid money from the taxpayer in order to do.
Anyone opens?
Yeah, let's see.
Once again, I try to find a spot for my son Joey, and they would not open the door. I want to put my son Joey in daycare. Cuz I need a spot to put my son Joey. Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No? Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out daycare center?
No! He's a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
In addition to that, one of the things that I will point out is that the Somali fraudsters know exactly which buttons to press in order to get the white-guilted, pussified liberals in order to defend them as they're being robbed blind. Because you will see time and time again, as we saw with multiple other Somali frauds that were committed across the state of Minnesota, that when they're backed into a corner, when they're pressed for answers, all of a sudden, they start calling you an evil white racist. business. And this is what these people did. Unfortunately for them, they didn't realize that this isn't a mainstream media reporter that's just going to roll over and show their belly. This is Nick Shirley, and Nick Shirley understands that tactic, and he kind of makes fun of them for trying to call him dangerous because he's white, especially considering that he's potentially confronting a Somali criminal operation, which, by the way, according to the other reporter, has in fact gotten violent in the past because they don't like when their fraud is being exposed.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah,
Why?
because of your curry.
Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. Does that make you a racist?
Yeah, no.
But
No.
you said you're scared of me because of my color.
I'm not saying you're racist.
You said you're scared of me because of my color. That makes you a racist. So right now, they're all getting mad because he's showing the paperwork of this business being registered as a business. 74 children, no children. We saw one child when the lady opened up the door. So now they're all getting mad.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Ask the owner and the kids.
Well, then why are you talking for the owner if you're telling me to talk to the owner?
I'm sorry. I'm not understand what you're talking about.
Do you have a child here?
No.
Does anybody?
No.
Where are the 74 kids? Did you lose them?
But this idea that it's just evil white racism to notice what's going on within the Somali community in the state of Minnesota is absolutely ridiculous and absurd because, again, we are going based off of their behavior. We are judging them based on the content of their character. And all the times that Ilhan Omar can go on the news and say, oh, it's only a few individuals, it's only isolated cases, aren't going to brush up against the numbers because, as we talked about, in a separate Somali fraud in the state of Minnesota, we ended up in a situation where they were defrauding an autism program and they managed to get 1 out of every 16 Somali kids diagnosed with autism. And the way that these fraudsters were able to do that is through kickbacks to their parents. So obviously this involves a massive part of the Somali community, a bunch of people yet to be indicted. And again, if this were another group that were behind it, if this were another group raising suspicion, we would not hesitate the way that the state of Minnesota is hesitating with these particular Somalis. You would not see Jacob Fry eating at a German restaurant if Germans were found to be the biggest fraudsters in terms of Medicaid in the state of Minnesota. So it's very important that you do not back down against allegations of evil.
Energy bills are rising at a historic rate, and there's no end in sight. That's why tens of thousands are using this amazing little device from SavePowerBills.com. It's a small but smart gadget that stabilizes electrical currents, reduces dirty electricity, and helps protect your electronics. Just plug it into your home's wall outlet to help lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills every month. Order now to get 65% off plus many free bonuses before they sell out by going to SavePowerBills.com. That's SavePowerBills.com. Order now.
White racism. And again, I will point out that there's a lot of fraud in what is called adult daycare. By the way, in the state of Minnesota, it is likely also Somali fraud. Let us keep it 100. This happens to be a childcare story. And in my particular area, or an area that I used to live in, a lot of those adult daycare centers were being run by Koreans or Chinese people. And if I was investigating the fraud of the Korean and Chinese daycare centers, although I will point out, you actually do see old people going in and out of those centers periodically because they are legitimate businesses, that would not be racism against Chinese people or Koreans. That would just be understanding and noticing a pattern and noticing the fact that sometimes organized crime happens to involve groups or subgroups within particular ethnic groups, which is exactly what's happening within the Somali community. But in addition to that, again, as I pointed out with the whole autism scandal, it appears to be a higher percentage in that subgroup than is normal or what we've seen in other populations when you have this criminal like epicenter, if you understand what I'm saying.
Did you lose these kids? Do I need to call someone? Do I need to issue an Amber Alert for missing children? Are these children missing? It's not my business that children are missing. 74 infants and toddlers, preschool.
The proof's right there. There's no children anywhere.
It's from the state of Minnesota right here.
I think we're moving on to the next location. Have a good day. As we continue to show the blatant fraud that was taking place here in Minnesota, Somalis started following us around the city. And now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow.
So yeah, Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar can cry evil white racism all they want, but the fact is, what we know from investigating it thus far is that Ilhan Omar wrote into law one of the programs that was defrauded by the Feeding Our Future Foundation. It was defrauded within her district by her friends at a location that she promoted multiple times, had her celebration party there, and for some reason, we're supposed to take this congresswoman seriously as she blames other people for the lack of guardrails when she wrote the bill that was defrauded and removed those guardrails, and in addition to that, was close personal friends with the fraudsters in that case. So yeah, not buying it at all whatsoever. We will not be cowed by allegations or alizations, as the super mayor calls them.
False allegations and not facts.
Of evil white racism. We understand what's happening. And by the way, this Nick Shirley video actually goes even further than just the daycare program, which is the new information that we're getting. And it goes into something that we talked about multiple times, which of course is the fraudulent home healthcare industry, which again is back to the Medicaid billing schemes that the Somalis are running, and how so many of these companies are located within the same buildings with offices that yet again you do not have access to.
Right here you have a list of all of the healthcare companies. Loads of them right here. We want healthcare.
No, it's okay.
Yes, we'd like to speak about getting healthcare here.
No.
Why can't I get healthcare here?
No, wait.
Warning, you are under video surveillance. No trespassing, security armed. This is the strangest place I've ever been to get healthcare. Just a bunch of different places. Healthcare here, healthcare right here. Another healthcare company right here. There are 3 healthcare companies inside of this building right here in this room of 7C. Now we have another Helping Hands, Home Care LLC, another healthcare company. Present Help right here. We're looking for the best rates of healthcare here inside this building because we have so many options. Who can we talk about getting the best healthcare?
I don't know.
No.
Sorry.
Again, this is absolute madness, and it's not a small problem in the state of Minnesota, despite the fact that you have Minnesota politicians doing everything and anything to cover it up. As is reported in this Nick Shirley video, the state of Minnesota actually had about a $16 billion surplus that has swung all the way to an $8 billion deficit in just 2 years, and that is largely, according to this reporter, due to the vast amounts of Somali fraud that are going on within that state that again have been allowed to go on. We played a clip from a video, a CBS News investigation, the last time we covered this story, where we had prosecutors not just from the Trump but from the Biden administration saying that the only way that this could have occurred is if the Walz administration deliberately looked the other way. They were derelict in their duty because state officials have a duty again to report fraud, even if the fraudsters accuse them of evil white racism, as the Somalis do time and time again.
Open up!
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over
open
the
up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know
You're
what-
not welcome here. Shame on you.
Are you in favor?
And look, the reason why I bring up the evil white racism, a counterattack, is because it's incredibly effective. During the course of filming this, while they were investigating the fraud, one of the things that we discovered was an anti-ICE activist was trying to defend the Somalis, telling them that the reporters were in fact ICE. And when confronted with the idea that this place was receiving taxpayer money for children that were not in fact present, she ended up basically buffering for a few minutes before going back to accusing people of evil white racism, trying to defend the Somali community because she has been white guilted into doing this. A lot of people call this Minnesota nice, but this is in fact what Gad Saad refers to as suicidal empathy, as these people are willing to destroy their own state so that they don't seem to be like those evil bad people who are noticing the fraud that these Somalis are committing. And again, if you want to help the Somali community, if you want them to better integrate, you have to get the criminals out of that community. You have have to get the scamming element away from the general population, because as you cover this up time and time again, people are going to believe that it is more widespread. And by the way, it gets more widespread, as we've seen with the autism scandal. And that is going to cause those negative stereotypes that you're so worried about to develop even more, because rooted at the core of many stereotypes in this nation is some level of truth, some level of fact. And the fact is, this Somali fraud is absolutely insane. It's asinine. And again, this is largely due to the fact that Somalia was a kleptocracy that was destroyed by these people. So we should not be surprised that the refugees from that population bring their own culture to the United States of America. This is not a Nigeria situation where a bunch of those Africans, the men, end up starting small businesses while the women go into nursing. Again, if you want to know what a Nigerian does, find out male or female. If it's a female, she's definitely a nurse. And if she's not a nurse, that's because she's in elementary school. Because believe me, by the time they finish high school, somehow they already have their nursing degree. Sometimes those stereotypes are rooted in truth, and that is what we're seeing right here within the Minnesota Somali community. But of course, you have a bunch of white guilted cowards that are letting them run roughshod over that particular state and pretending anybody who notices the criminality is the villain, and I cannot abide by that nonsense.
Hello, how are you? I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son little Joey here. Is there paperwork, or can I check out the daycare? No? Why can't I check out the daycare?
It's not here.
Okay, but if can I get paperwork or anything to submit my son little Joey to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card, actually.
You talk to your manager.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Where are the children at? Are there children here today?
No.
No children?
Yeah.
Why are there no children?
Look, many lefties talk about how, we need to have programs that exist like the ones in Europe. But in reality, when you try to implement those programs like this universal childcare, you can't actually do so successfully when you have a low trust population that is just looking to scam the taxpayer. This is a warning, if you happen to be a progressive who's in favor of these policies, to every single politician around the nation, that these kind of programs are going to be associated with these kind of frauds. And that is going to backfire and blow up in your face, because guess what? People understand this, even if many of them are too cowardly to acknowledge what's happening. But on this channel, we tell the truth. We judge the tree by its fruits. And while again, many of these places have not faced criminal charges, and I definitely don't recommend harassing any of these businesses, especially because we have reports of violent retaliation from the Somali community, it is more than just a little bit suspicious that a supposed Somali learning center can't even spell the word learning correct, and in addition to that, also does not have any visible signs of children, has windows completely blacked out, and again, let me say this one more time, can't even spell learning correct. These are the people that are getting your money.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now.
From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Leering Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelled learning wrong.
And if it's not fraudulent that they're receiving taxpayer dollars from the state of Minnesota, it is incredibly incompetent, because look at who you're providing your taxpayer dollars to. Even if this were a legitimate business, that is clearly and obviously a mistake. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness in the Somali community in Minnesota. Till next time.